Hey, and welcome back to Love Restored. I am your host, Marshaun Olaniyan, and today is all about forgiveness. Why is forgiveness important? Forgiveness is important because you cannot move along your life until you forgive the ones that you love, including yourself. Including yourself. See, I was talking to a client of mine, and forgiveness is such a huge deal that most people hold on to it. They hold on to not letting things go. And because they're not letting things go, they are staying stuck or on that hamster wheel going round and round and round, never getting anywhere. You know, a hamster wheel is round, right? And so there is no on, there's no off. You literally have to jump on to stay on the hamster wheel, but you also have to jump off to get off of that hamster wheel. And so, in order to move forward in your life and not stay stuck, you have to jump off of the hamster wheel. Now, forgiveness, people don't know and understand that forgiveness is for yourself first and foremost. See, you can think that you have forgiven outsiders. But in order for forgiveness to really take hold and really to take root, you must start with forgiving yourself. Now, it doesn't matter what you need to forgive yourself for, you just need to forgive yourself. Some people need to forgive themselves for little itty bitty things, but because it's so many little bitty things that they find themselves needing to forgive themselves for this massive thing. But it's actually compounding and composed of a lot of itty bitty things throughout their life. And so, in order to really start to move forward and create that healing process that each and every one of us need, you have to first look within yourself. You have to start with forgiving yourself first before you can truly forgive somebody on the outside. You see, we have to realize that forgiveness takes time. And because it takes time, in your time of forgiving or to begin forgiving, you are trying to process the pain. Now, that pain is important because a lot of people try to skip past this stage. And unfortunately, you can't skip past this stage. You must go through the forgiveness process uh, and go through the process of feeling the pain. Now, what I like to tell my clients is it's okay for you to feel the pain, it's okay for you to go through the stages of grief. Absolutely okay. The problem that most people have is that they stay stuck in one of the cycles when it comes to their grief process. So they feel like, woe was me. Or they might stay stuck in the anger stage. Or they may just stay stuck in the sad slash depressive phase of grief. Don't stay stuck. Go through each stage. And if you need to figure out what the grief stages are, then Google it. It's on Google. But to forgive, it takes time. It is a process. But you must be willing to feel the pain in order to start the healing process and really to move through the stages of grief. Again, it's not a problem that you feel these things. It's actually a must for you to feel these things in order for the healing to begin. Right? I mentioned this, but I really want to drive it home, which is you have to learn to forgive yourself first. Forgive yourself for all the things that you didn't do. Forgive yourself for all of the things that you said that you would to, but never got around to doing. And this is forgiving your spouse as well. This is forgiving your children, little babies, all the way up to adults. This is forgiving your siblings. This is forgiving your coworkers. This is forgiving each and every person that has touched your life positively or negatively. Now, of course, we're going to focus more on the negative because those are the things that we remember. Those are the things that we hone in on. Those are the things that keep us telling the story over and over and over and over again. It's usually not the positive, right? We'll speak about the positive, we'll say it once or twice, maybe even thrice, but then afterwards we hone back in on the negativity and we stay stuck in that cycle of repeating the same story, the woe was me stories. And you have to be able to move beyond the woe was me because none of us are victims. So we can't play the victim and believe that our lives are going to change. If you're playing the victim, your life is not changing. Your life is literally staying stuck. And you are actually looking for someone to have this pity party with you, to give you permission to continue your pity party. But the people that you really need around you are the people that are going to really tell you, nah, we're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. You have to allow yourself to feel your feelings, not stay stuck there. Forgive yourself first. And remember that it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process. It is not something that you're just going to forgive one day and then you never think about the things that were done wrong to you. It's not the way it works. One day you're going to think that you're over it. And guess what? The next day, different feelings are going to come up about the situation or situations, the person or people, right? Sometimes you're going to just need to scream, shout, curse, just get it out there. But you need to understand and give yourself permission to go through the stages. So again, you're not staying stuck in one position, but you are moving forward each and every day. In your process of forgiveness, you must remember to choose kindness over being right. Now, this usually comes from any form of relationship that you're in. Now, I specifically hone in on romantic relationships, but just think about all the times that you are having conversations with friends and family members, and you know that you're right. You know it deep down in your soul, in your bones, in your marrow. You know that you are right. But instead of you having to prove your point of being right, choose kindness. Because sometimes that being right can keep you on the outskirts, whether it's in a romantic relationship or in a friendship, sibling, etc. You don't have to be right about everything. You can internalize you being right and allowing the person to feel the way that they feel, because each and every one of us have an opinion about the things that we know, that we believe to be true. And so even if you have some statistics to back it up, some facts to back up your truth, doesn't matter at the end of the day. Because what I want you to think about is, in a year, in 1 year, will the thing that you are starting to argue about matter? And if it's not going to matter in 1 year, it's definitely not going to matter in 5 years. And so if the person needs to be right, let them be right. It's not a big deal. At some point, they will realize that they were wrong. But you don't have to be the person that, I told you were wrong. I knew you was wrong the whole time. I knew I was right. It's not that serious. Allow some things to just flow through you. It's okay. It's okay. You know deep down in your heart of hearts that you are right. And so there's no reason for you to have to continue to go down that road to prove that you are right. Just choose kindness. Allow them to have their own opinion without you trying to interject or create a huge scene because you know I'm right. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. On your road to forgiving, you have to understand that forgiveness is all for you. It really doesn't matter about the other party. You know, I'm talking to friends and family and even sometimes clients, and I often hear that in order for them to forgive that they need to receive the apology. Well, guess what? That's really just not true, because forgiving, again, is all for you. And so you don't want to stay stuck on, I'm not going to forgive him, I'm not going to forgive her because they did A, B, and C. Now, once they apologize, then I will be able to really forgive them. No, it don't work like that. Because forgiveness is all for yourself. It's all for you to not stay stuck in that situation. It's for you to be able to release all of that junk and be able to catapult to the next level in your life. Forgiveness is all for you. Literally, it's not for the other person. At some point, you have to realize that that apology that you are waiting for may never come. It may never show up. You may never hear it in this lifetime from the person that you've been wanting to hear it from since day one. Number one, that person may not have the apology language, even though it's super simple. I'm sorry. Just because it's simple does not mean saying I'm sorry is easy for every person that crosses your path. Because for some people, it's just not as easy. It's just not that easy for them to say I'm sorry. And I truly believe, like rock with me. We're going off the path of forgiveness just for a moment, because I truly believe that a lot of romantic relationships and even friendships break up because one or both parties are too stubborn and allowing that ego to come into play. And guess what? Because the ego is in play, I'm sorry can never be said. The words can never be formed because you're allowing that ego to get in the way. And I love I think it's Les Brown when he actually says, ego stands for edging God out. Because whenever your ego is present, there's no way that you could be thinking about the other person. It's all about self whenever your ego is in play. And so being able to say, I'm sorry, is actually a sign of growth. It is a sign of maturity, but it's also a sign of humility. You understanding that you're not always going to be right about everything. And so you must be able to apologize. You must be able to apologize. But again, that's not everybody's language. That is not everybody's story. That is not everybody's reality. Some people would rather be right than to seem as if they do not have the answer, not realizing that that is their sign of an immature person. Because the smartest people in the world will actually tell you, I don't know. I will figure it out. I will find out the answer. Because they realize no one has the answers to everything. They just don't, right? So realizing that forgiveness is all for yourself. Because here's the thing, you can choose to stick to your anger, or you can choose to accept what happened and understand that you don't have any control over what the person did, what the person said, what the person didn't do, what the person didn't say, how they showed up, how they reacted, all of the evil stuff that they're spewing at you. You have no control over that. The only person that you have control over is you, one's self. That's it. You could think that you have control over your children or child. You really don't. At the end of the day, your child or children is going to do exactly what they want. And listen, I do the exact same thing. Let me bring this home to me, because sometimes when I'm on the phone with my mom, like, she has this sixth sense, if you will, right? And every time I'm going through something, all of a sudden my phone rings. She's like, I'm just checking up on you, right? At the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, I should say, or some point in the conversation, we're talking, right? And she gives me her idea of what she believes I should do, what my next right step is to do in order to move from where I'm at to where, get me closer to feeling safe, secure, etc. But guess what? Because I'm an adult, at the end of the day, that is her opinion of what I need to do. It doesn't necessarily align with what I want to do, or even what I decide to do after that conversation is over. So, just like you're having conversations with your child or children, right? We, as the parent or parents, want them to really listen to what we're saying and actually do it. The problem with that is we don't have control over our child or children. And they have the power of choice, just like we do. So, just like you're not doing everything that is suggested to you, he or she, your child or children, are not going to take everything that you say into account and actually do it. Because some of us need to go down that road of getting hurt in order for us to learn the lesson. And your child or children may come back to you and say, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't listen to you. And this is what happened. And now I need some help. But it's okay, because you are on and in your journey of becoming a forgiving person. And just like you need to extend the grace and mercy to yourself, it is now time for you to extend that same grace and mercy to your child or children. So just remember that the act of forgiving is an actual process. It is not something that you're going to say, today I am going to forgive and I'm never going to think about this thing again. It usually doesn't work like that. It usually works like, okay, today I'm thinking about this thing and I'm really ticked off about this thing. But it's okay. Or maybe today I'm crying about this thing. Whatever it is, because it could be a plethora of things, big and small, that just really touches your heart and it makes you feel a little guilty, ashamed, doubtful, like, am I even worthy? Right? And so we're going down these roads, staying on these hamster wheels, not realizing that you're not moving forward in your life because you have not forgiven the most important person, which is you. Which is you. You also have to understand that forgiveness takes work. And it may not come naturally to you. This may not be your first language. You might not have tapped into being and becoming a forgiving person. So it might not be natural for you. You literally may have to create some new strategies for yourself to become a more forgiving person. And that's okay. That's okay, because the more you practice this new habit and this new behavior, i.e., becoming a more forgiving person towards yourself first, as well as toward others, extending that grace and mercy that I brought up earlier, the better that you will be the next time around, right? So the getting started part is what keeps people messed up. So you're not a forgiving person. You have not gone down the road of understanding that, okay, this doesn't come naturally to me, but now what can I do to make it a more natural process for me so I feel okay in my own skin to forgive other people when they do wrong to me, forgive other people when they say they're going to do something and they don't do it, and even forgive yourself for the things that that's stupid. Why did I do that? Why did I do it? I knew that I was going to feel guilty after I did this thing and I did it anyway. Why? You did that because you wanted to feel good in the moment. But long term, it makes you feel guilty. It maybe even make you feel like a schmuck. Let's be real. Because there have been some things that I have done in my life that I look back now and I'm like, Marshaun, what was you doing? What was you doing? Why did you do that? And I know why. I did some of the stupid and idiotic things that I did when I was younger. And it's because I didn't love myself deep enough for me to stop doing said stupid things. Did a lot of stupid things. I learned from those things though, and that's the difference. And I've also forgiven myself for those stupid things that I did. None are perfect. And we all do such stupid things. You just have to laugh at yourself, because otherwise, are you going to sit around crying all day and all night because you didn't get it right? That's a part of your growth. That's a part of your journey. And if you didn't go down that road, then you wouldn't be the person that you are today. So you had to experience and be idiotic and a little bit stupid. You had to, because otherwise, the more mature person that you are today, you would never have been had you not had those experiences, had you not gone down those roads, had you not created and even made the choices that you made. You wouldn't be the woman, you wouldn't be the man that you are. As you forgive yourself, you have to acknowledge how hurt you are. And I talked about this a tiny bit, but I didn't specifically say these words. You have to go through the pain. I know that I mentioned that. But going through the pain, acknowledge why you are hurting. Why does this hurt me so much? Why am I holding on to all of this stuff? And then begin to answer those questions. Because the more that you really take time to sit, allow all of the stuff that's going to come, instead of running away from it, instead of getting busy, instead of scrolling. Sit in your mess. Allow all of the feelings, the hurt, to come over you so you can feel them. And then you can start to make conscious choices and decisions about what you are going to handle first and why this makes you feel the way that it makes you feel, so you can understand the root cause of your hurt, the root cause of your pain, and the root cause of why you can't forgive. It may be something like, my mom was not a forgiving person. And so she didn't forgive many people, and really zero people. And so I took this on as if it was my thing, not realizing it was my mom's thing, or my dad's thing, or my auntie's thing. Never my thing. But because it was normalized behavior that you witnessed time and time and time and time and time again, now you've taken on their habits and their behaviors as if it was your own. And so now it's time for you to rewrite your own story. Rewrite your ending. And guess what? Because you're here today, your ending is not here yet. So you have every opportunity and chance to get it right this time around by understanding that forgiveness is a way, and one of the biggest ways, to get back to your love being restored. The love for yourself being restored, the love for your spouse being restored, the love for your child or children being restored, the love for your sibling relationships to be restored, the love for your parental relationships to be restored, even old friendships to be restored. But you got to forgive yourself. You got to call yourself to the fire. You have got to call yourself to the fire so you can get an understanding of where you went wrong, and now how you can start correcting said behavior and going down a different road. Because until you get down to the root, you will never be fully healed or get that love restored. You just won't. You won't. So you have to acknowledge the hurt. You have to acknowledge the pain. Again, I said it earlier. Do not stay stuck in the hurt. But you have to feel the feelings of hurt. You have to feel the feelings of pain in order to understand your why. The deeper root, reason, and cause of why you have not been able to forgive yourself and those around you. The final thing that I want to bring up about forgiveness this evening, or whenever you're listening to this, in your process and journey of forgiving yourself, as well as forgiving those that you love that are around you, I want you to switch the blame that we often have to understanding. Now, what does that actually mean? It means that instead of you pointing the finger at the other person and they're causing you to show up in a certain way, I want you to now take responsibility for how you are showing up. Take responsibility for how you are reacting. Take responsibility for yourself so you can understand that forgiveness is a must, and then understand where the other person is coming from. Because a lot of times, instead of us getting down to the root, what we tend to do is focus on the thing that they brought that had nothing to do with said conversation. So, for example, you and your mate, you and your partner are talking about a specific thing, but you notice that their tone wasn't right. And so because their tone wasn't right, instead of you guys focusing on the original reason why you came to speak that day, now you have switched over to the tone. Why are you talking to me like that? I don't understand. I don't like your tone, whatever it is. And now you guys are focusing on the tone versus the real reason why you're talking. And guess what? As you guys are focused on the tone over here and arguing back and forth about the tone, the issue, the real root cause and issue as to why you started talking in the first place, never gets solved. There's no resolution. There is no compromise to come together to say, hey, X, Y, and Z happened. This is why I feel this way. Can we actually do it this way? The solution. None of that ever occurs because now we're focused on the tone. Keep the original talk on the focused reason why you two came together. So try to understand yourself. That's what all of this is about for forgiveness. You have to understand the root cause. So try to understand yourself. And then secondary is understand the other person and not necessarily their tone. Because hurt people hurt people. I'm sure you've heard that saying before, and it's so true. Because if I'm angry and pissed off and I don't understand how to control my emotions, now I'm trying to get under your skin and get you to hurt, get you to pop off because I'm hurting. So now I want you to hurt just as bad as I'm hurting. But instead of you going down that road as well, I want you to try to listen and switch from pointing the finger and blaming your partner or spouse to understanding the real reason why they've come to you in the first place. And then forgive them, whether you say this verbally out loud or not, but then forgive them for how they have showed up. And you can even suggest how you would love for them to show up the next time around. I hope that you have been blessed this evening or whenever you're watching this. I am Marshaun Olaniyan, and this is Love Restored. I will see you on the next